I don't know if the audio here sounds good. I have my fan running and then another fan behind my phone running, so there's no saying what this audio sounds like. And this is kind of just a practice run for something new that I'm trying to do, which is answering questions on a semi-regular basis, because I've been posting on Instagram about my travels and being with my friends, and I get so many questions about, like, oh, well, how do you do this? Or how do you start nomad life? And how do you do all these things? How did you get into it? How did you make money? Like, all of this stuff. So I figured it might be kind of fun to do a daily or semi-regular show where I just answer questions that I get in my DMs. And I usually answer the questions in my DMs, but today I will be doing a live video, and I'm going to be doing it with Disco because I haven't gone live in so long and I'm feeling fucking nervous. Oh my goodness. Oh, I haven't posted on YouTube in so long and I'm feeling nervous. But anyway, this is cool. It's been so long. I've wanted to get back into creating long form content on YouTube because it's been so long. So I figured this might be something fun that kind of accomplishes all of the things. So let's get into it. Okay, so how do you deal with AC and heat without running the car battery low really fast? So I actually don't have air conditioning in the back of my van. I have AC in the front of my van that I run when I'm driving, but when the van is off, I don't have AC. The way that I stay cool is by running my max air fan, which you can probably hear right now, and running smaller fans inside my van on really hot days. But honestly, like, something a lot of van lifers do is just travel with the seasons. So whenever it's super hot somewhere, we'll just drive somewhere where it's cooler. And the general rule of thumb is when it's hot, go to higher elevation where it's cooler, and when it's cold, go to lower elevation where it's warmer. So what a lot of van lifers end up doing is they'll stay for the summer like in the Pacific Northwest area, or kind of in the mountains in like Wyoming, maybe like western parts of Utah where you can get really high elevation where it's less hot. And then when it's colder, going down south like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, states like that where it's a little bit cooler and not like super hot. Or yeah, vice versa. You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Traveling with the seasons helps a lot, but I do not run AC in here and I stay pretty comfortable. So yeah, it's just kind of a matter of like knowing what the temperature is going to be like and planning ahead of time. But there are plenty of people that have full-on ACs like installed on the top of their vans. I'm not one of those people, but yeah, that's how I deal with the heat. Or I'll just like go inside somewhere. Like, I think people think like, oh, if you're doing van life, you're gonna be in your van all the time, but for me, that's not the case. I'm almost always somewhere pretty cool that has things going on, so when it's hot, I'll just go inside, or I'll just like do something where I can like get cool. I don't know. It's something you kind of figure out as you get used to it. It's just one of those things. Okay, next question. Oh, this is fun. Oh my gosh, people are coming in. Hello. So I said it at the beginning of the stream, but I'll say it again. I haven't posted on YouTube in so long, but I've been traveling the entire time. So I wanted to start doing a thing where I answer people's questions because I get so many DMs in my Instagram on a daily basis. And I figured it'd be kind of fun, just like answer the questions that I get. So, hello, welcome to the stream. Okay, next question. Let's get into it. I'm about to begin my life as a nomad, but I have one thing holding me back. What are your thoughts on this lifestyle when you get to an older age, like in your 50s and up? So I can't like completely answer that question because I'm not in my 50s or up. I'm in my 20s. But what I can say is that there's a huge community of older van lifers and nomads that are out here. I know that as far as like content creators that you can look at, Bob Wells has an amazing YouTube channel and he interviews a lot of people in that age range. But what I do know about like van lifers and nomads in their 50s and above is a lot of them are in Quartzsite, Arizona. I think that's where Bob Wells hangs out, but a lot of them, like they're in RVs and fifth wheels and stuff like that. Quartzsite, Arizona is where it's at, allegedly. I haven't been, but it's pretty cool, from what I heard. Okay, how do you find community as a van lifer? So the way that I found community was just by posting about it. So in the beginning, before I had a van and before I was doing any sort of like nomadic travel, I was just watching people online, and I felt like, I don't know, all I wanted to do was join those people. So what I eventually did was I took my car at the time, which was a Kia Soul, and I lowered the seats, put some pillows and blankets in it, and every weekend when I could get off of work, I would drive somewhere new. So I started doing that, and I started camping out of my Kia, going to different national parks and stuff like that. And when I did that, I would take photos of my travels and post them online. And that is how I found community. I also just found other nomads out in the wild as I was traveling. So to answer your question, like for finding community, it's really a matter of just like putting yourself out there. But if you're not physically going to places like national parks or like van life hubs where nomads hang out, the best thing to do is just to go online and to DM influencers or other nomads. Like that's what I did. And it sounds like really scary. Like you would think that DMing people online would be creepy or weird, but sometimes people respond. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. And that's how you find community. Also, like there are Discord channels where you can meet nomads. Kyle Goes Off, who's one of my good friends at this point, has a massive Discord channel that's full of like, I think it has like 6,000, somewhere around 6,000 people in it that are nomadic or who are actively looking into getting into nomad life. So there's that aspect as well. And then there are nomad events going on all the time. So like Schoolie-Palooza is a big one. And then like Vansgiving, I think those are both in the like the desert down south. And then like you kind of have to look into it. There was a site that I found that has like a really good list of all of the nomad gatherings going on, but they're going on year round. So that's another really good way to find community in the nomad space. And another thing, like you don't have to be in a van and you don't have to have a big rig to go to a nomad gathering. Like you can just show up with whatever you have, like a car or a bike or literally just yourself. Like it's for fun, it's for vibes. So that's how you find community, going out, meeting them in real life, like at a van life hub or a nomad meetup or national parks, stuff like that. Going online and DMing people, and yeah, that's pretty much how I did it. So that's how I would recommend you find community. It's pretty fun that way. Okay, next question. What do you do when the winter sets in? So similar to the question that I answered, similar to the first question that I answered about like what I do when it's really hot. First things first, I mainly travel with the season. So if it's getting really cold, I'll just go somewhere where it's warmer. But when it is cold and I can't leave or I don't have any intentions on traveling anytime soon, I have a diesel heater. So a diesel heater is essentially a heater that is just powered by diesel. So every time I go to a gas station, I can literally fill it up with diesel. And then that keeps me super toasty. It puts off a ton of heat and it's super safe, and everything is exhausted outside, so I don't have CO2 buildup or anything like that in the van. And that is powered off of my Jackery 1000 V2, which is powered by the sun because I have 400 watts of solar on my roof. So that is how I stay warm in the winter. And I actually was in Arkansas this previous winter when we had the snowmageddon situation, like so much snow, and I stayed warm the entire time because I was just running my diesel heater. So while it's not ideal to like be in the snow when it's super cold and be in super cold environments, that's how I stay warm. But before I had the diesel heater and I was living like part-time in my van when it was cold, what I would do to kind of like, I don't know, like test out how I could stay warm is I used to wear these super thick wool socks, and I forget, I think it's literally called a hot water bottle, and I had a hot water bottle, and I would fill that with really warm water and like keep it like on my stomach or like between my thighs, and that would do a pretty good job of warming me up too. So there's a few things you can do to stay warm even if you don't have something like a diesel heater, but that's how I stay warm in the winter. But ideally, I just go where it's warmer. Okay. Next question. Let's see. Does your battery ever start losing charge when driving for hours at a time? No, it doesn't. I used to have weird battery issues when I first got my car or when I first got the van, but I realized it was because I had a bad alternator, and then I replaced the alternator, and I haven't really had any bad issues since. And then like weird terminal issues, but I fixed those, and I haven't had battery problems since then. So no, my battery does not ever lose charge when I'm driving for long hours at a time. Any road trip plans for this month? Maybe it's August. I'm planning on going to Oregon. I just had a friend who came into Wyoming, where I'm at, and they want to go to Oregon, so I might be going to Oregon sometime soon. Sorry, there's like someone yelling outside my van. Yeah, the next stop is most likely Oregon, probably Bend, but I'm not completely sure when I'm going to be heading out to Oregon. But yeah, that's kind of my loose plan for now. Okay, next question. I was thinking of posting travel vlogs, but I don't know where to start, and I don't know how to edit shit. Okay, so posting travel vlogs. So if you have a phone, you can post travel vlogs, and that's pretty easy to do. If you have an internet connection, you can post travel vlogs. Like, all people really want to see is you just being yourself out in the wild and having fun. So what I would recommend is like just doing weekend trips, or whenever you can get off work, just traveling. And like, even if it's something small like going to a state park or hanging out with some friends or just doing something different, like just record a little bit of it and then post it on YouTube or Instagram, like wherever you want to post. It's like, when I first started, I definitely overthought a lot of aspects of it, but what I've realized since I've been posting content for a while is that people just want to see you having fun. So as long as you're doing that, like just being yourself and like sharing your light with the world, like that's ultimately all people care about. Okay, next question. Tell me how you became a nomad and what that word and way of life means to you. So this is a fun story and I love to tell it. I became a nomad when I decided to become a nomad. I don't think there was I don't think there was anything that I necessarily attained or did that made me a nomad other than me deciding one day that I was going to be a fucking nomad. And for me, that was like 2.5 years ago, when I was doing a software engineering internship at a software company in San Francisco, and I just started traveling every weekend, because I just wanted to get out of the city and I wanted to see more stuff and I wanted to experience more. I think that's like how I became a nomad. But like I mentioned before, I did that just by lowering the back seats of my Kia Soul and then putting pillows and blankets in the back and just traveling. Like, it didn't have to be far. Sometimes I would only travel like 20 minutes or maybe an hour away from where I was living at the time, and I would just camp and go hiking and meet people and have fun. That's kind of how I got into it, and then like over that entire summer I saved and I bought a van. But that's how I like became a nomad. But I think it genuinely I became a nomad when I said, I'm gonna become a nomad, my guy, and I just became a nomad. I don't know. But I think what the word nomad means to me is just generally someone who travels full-time or part-time out of the year. But I think nomad can be whatever you make it. Like anyone can be a nomad. It's kind of like, I think it's like a state of mind more so than than what you do, if that makes sense. Okay, next question. Do you know anyone selling a rig for cheap? It depends on what you consider cheap to be. Like if you consider cheap to be like under $5,000 or $10,000, I'm not completely sure. But I do know people selling rigs. And people selling rigs are kind of everywhere, to be honest. So to answer this question, I'll just say, like, if you're looking for a van, one of the best places to look is just Facebook Marketplace, because there are always people selling like built out rigs or just, you know, empty vans, like old work vans and stuff like that. The vast majority of people I know that are nomadic who bought their rigs bought them on Facebook Marketplace. So I would just say, like, if you're looking for a cheap rig, check Facebook Marketplace. Like, it's just constantly flooded with people selling rigs, and it's just like, you'll see good stuff there if you know what you're looking for. Like, Facebook Marketplace is where it's at. Okay, next question. All right, I just started my gap year after exams. I've always been passionate about not owning a home and seeing the world, but I'm scared whether the full nomad life truly fits my personality. I've just got over a year before my, what is that, snowboard internship, okay. Snowboard internship in Canada to do the research and practice some car sleeping. Yeah, honestly, I say this to everyone who asks me, okay, let me reel it back. I have a lot of people that ask me, like, I don't know if this lifestyle is for me. How do I know if this lifestyle is for me? I'm not sure. I want to invest all of this money before I kind of like know if I really like it. The thing that I will always recommend is if you have a functioning car, that's all you need to like really dive into the lifestyle and see if it's for you. And even if you don't have a car, you can do something called bike packing. It's not my niche, but it's something worth looking into if you don't have a car. That said, if you have a car, as cheaply as you physically can, turn it into a camper. And the way you do that is by like either lowering your back seats or removing your back seats and taking a short trip out of it. Obviously you want to get some like shelf stable foods that you can put in the car so you can cook stuff, maybe like a camp stove. It's not completely necessary to do all that stuff. Like, you can just have non-perishable foods, but being able to cook is pretty cool. And yeah, just take small trips and maybe post photos of your travels, photos or videos if you like are trying to get into the content creator aspect of it. But like, that's the best way to do it. And like, when you do that, you're gonna learn one of two things. Like, I either love doing this or I absolutely fucking hate it. And that way, if you end up hating it, you're not out thousands of dollars after buying a van and going through all of that. And when you start using the car that you already have, you're familiar with the car. So you're not thinking about, you know, driving a new van or whatever mechanical issues you might experience with a new unfamiliar rig. Like, you're just driving your regular car. So I would really recommend doing that and just having fun with it. Like, going places you genuinely want to go and focusing on the experiences. Because at the end of the day, like, experience is what this is all about. And I think it's easy for people to forget that, because I think that online with social media, the van itself or the rig itself is so aestheticized, and so much focus can be put on the actual apparatus of what's getting people to these beautiful places like the Tetons or, you know, other national parks, wherever. Like, but at the end of the day, like, what really matters is what you're doing outside of the rig. So I say, when you're just starting and you don't really know what you're looking for completely, just start with what you have access to. Like, if you don't have a car, obviously, like, you can use a bike if you have a bike, but if you have a friend, you know, like, let's just do a road trip this weekend. Let's camp. Let's go to this cool place. Let's do this thing together and see how you feel. That's ultimately what it's all about. And I think that's the best way to get into it. Okay, next question. Oh, this is the last question. Oh my gosh. Okay, so is there a friendly community around campers and RVs and fifth wheels? I'm sure there is. It's not my niche. I'm more so in like the dirtbaggy van life crowd. but I'm sure there is. I'm here in Jackson right now, and I'm literally parked across a RV park where there are a bunch of like big Class A RVs and like fifth wheels and stuff. Honestly, I don't really know. Oh, that's the Jabroni bus. That's crazy. Sorry, I just like saw some friends that are parked out here. I don't really know like what the community is like for super super big rigs, like the giant RV, like the big Class A RVs and like fifth wheels and stuff. There has to be a community. I'm not super well versed in it because again, I'm like in the van life niche. But if you're looking for community around like big campers and RVs, fifth wheels, just like go online on Instagram and literally look up like fifth wheel community, Class A RV community, and that's generally how you can find those people. But also just traveling around, like if you see someone poking about with their fifth wheel or their giant RV, like don't be afraid to engage with people and like ask them questions and say hi. I feel like it can be kind of hard to put yourself out there and make new friends, but that's honestly, when you're doing something like Nomad life, it is the best way to meet other people and to really like immerse yourself into the lifestyle. It's putting yourself out there, maybe embarrassing yourself if someone doesn't want to talk, but most of the time, like people are going to want to talk to you because this lifestyle is only made even more fun when you have more friends who are doing the same thing. So if you're looking for a community around like RVs and fifth wheels, like go out there and talk to them. And you can find them online for sure. Like that's how I found all of my friends that I'm traveling with right now. It was seeing them online and then just meeting them in person. Like that's pretty much it. So yeah. Those are all my questions. This was fun. Sorry, I did not respond to any any messages in the chat today. Hello and welcome to coming into the chat. This was sort of like a practice run for me, but this was kind of fun. I'm gonna try and do this tomorrow, potentially. But yeah, that was fun. Thanks for joining the live, and I will maybe see you guys tomorrow.